So originally we were supposed to go on the trip to French Polynesia.
But for 2 years, it just didn't work out.
We had spent over $40,000 in plane tickets, and Air Tahiti did not refund that.
Our previous mission trip, French Polynesia, got canceled. I was kind of disappointed.
So we prayed, Lord, if you would like for the whole class to have the opportunity to go on a mission trip, please refund the money. Air Tahiti refunded the $40,000, and we were able to then pursue a different mission trip. So I contacted It Is Written, and they said, how about Bolivia?
It was such a God thing because we hadn't expected that we could come up with a new mission trip in such a short amount of time, and then Bolivia just popped up.
Going into Bolivia, I was very excited because finally we were able to go on a mission trip.
As a leader of an activity like this, the biggest prayer is, will my kids be blessed? Will they be a blessing?
Before the trip, I knew I had to get spiritually connected with God more. So I did a lot of praying, I did a lot of surrendering.
I just started praying and reading my Bible even more so I could get connected with God.
The church pastor had been trying to build this church building for 10 years, and they needed around 1,000 bricks to be moved from the ground to the roof. We were able to come to construction. We moved the entire pile in one day, and when he was telling us about the story, he was weeping because he was so thankful that we could come and help, and I was almost crying too because this is why we're here.
It was like the simplest task, like moving a giant mound of dirt from the ground up to the roof, but they were so grateful for that. We didn't literally build a church, we just moved stuff. But then we think about how many we were compared to how few there were of them, and that we just sped up their process by a significant amount of time was quite a blessing.
Vacation Bible School is where kids can come. We sing songs and we teach them easy principles of drink water and eat healthy. And then we also tell Bible stories.
There was one boy, when we got to our church, he was a little bit younger than me, maybe 12 years old. And he really seemed to like me, specifically. And he tells me, my mom doesn't have a Bible. She doesn't come to church anymore, but she's gonna come tomorrow. So we give this woman a Bible. And she was so desperate for the Word of God. She just starts bawling. That touched me more spiritually than anything I've ever experienced.
So my involvement was to plan and organize the Vision Clinic, and we saw about 800 patients in 5 days.
There was a ridiculously long line. I'm talking from the door, down the street, and past that.
There were just so many people that we gave glasses to.
I work in the optical where you distribute the glasses and fit them to their face, and you see their reactions. These people who can't see anything get a pair of glasses, and then their life is changed and their careers are brought back to them because they can see again.
What's amazing is every time I go on a mission trip, I picture Jesus. He would meet their physical needs, their emotional needs, and obviously their spiritual needs too. And so when we go and we do it in the method that Jesus modeled, you sense that you're very close to God. You always come back blessed, and everybody that goes on mission trips hears that, but it's just wonderful.
Probably one of the biggest things I learned from this trip is that you need to rely on God because He's got the ultimate plan. He knows what's going to happen. He knows what's going to happen in the future.
We had planned what we had thought was going to work out, but God had something else in the works for us to do.
My relationship with Jesus definitely grew.
When you're friends with someone and you're kind of friends with them, it's cool. But then when you're able to help them achieve something, you just feel closer, and that's kind of how I felt with God.
In thinking about this trip and the 2 years that it took us to get to this trip, it made us think of a Bible verse that we claimed as our promise on this trip. I would have lost heart unless I had believed that I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and He shall strengthen your heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. So that Bible verse just resonated with us. We had to wait a long time to get to this mission trip. And we would have lost heart, we would have been discouraged, but the Lord strengthened our hearts.
Before going on the mission trip, I didn't really have that close of a relationship with God. Going into the trip, you don't really have a choice of not being around, God and stuff. So being around that really touched me in a way that He wants to be in your life. No matter how far you run away, no matter how far you've gone, if ever you think that you're not worth being welcomed by God, He's always going to be there. And that's what I felt. And that really kind of cemented that whatever I do, he's always going to have that opportunity for me to come back to him. And that's what really impacted me on this trip.
Well, we would say thank you to a fantastic team of missionaries and to some very dear friends and It Is Written partners who have partnered with It Is Written in missions with some frequency over the past few years, and it's such a joy. They bring such a great team. Oh, look at that. And the good thing is they're willing to help at a moment's notice. Thanks. How much planning time did you have for this?
About 30 seconds. Thanks, John.
See the faith I have in you? Man of your caliber, I should have only given him 10. Dr. Brad, MD, and Angela, MD, really, I'm going to say the cornerstones, they might disagree, of many of the mission trips we've had at It Is Written. So you were there in Bolivia. Let's start with you, Brad, and talk a little bit about your experience and what you saw the students experience.
Well, it's just neat to be, like I said on the video, the hands and feet of Jesus, and to see the kids light up when they're serving, and to have the joy from serving, and to see the kids learn that that's where true joy comes from, and that's what heaven is going to be like, is really powerful. And I think if you can get somebody addicted to that joy, then there's a good chance they'll be in heaven and enjoy being
Absolutely.
in heaven.
One of the problems we make for ourselves is we think that we can organize enough programs to get our kids into heaven. Programs are okay, nothing wrong with that. But kids who don't graduate from programs to service and sharing their faith, only stay stuck at the program level, and it's never quite enough. Angela, you've been involved with these mission trips again and again and again. You could have said, okay, we've done it a couple of times, no need to do it anymore. Why do you continue to expose the students and your own family to missions?
The experience that the kids have is like none other. To have them excited about presenting Bible truths to people, to have them on fire for the Lord, is like none other. It is the best experience.
Yeah,
and
fantastic.
so it's, like Brad said, addicting. You just want to keep doing it again and again because of the joy it brings to the kids. When they can get excited about something other than the most, the latest Instagram post or the latest movie. Instead, they're excited about what Bible story they're going to teach, or the health nugget that they're going to present, or the kids that they meet at Vacation Bible School, or the piles of dirt. My kids were excited because they moved piles of dirt. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing. Hey, now I want you to tell a story about a previous mission trip, Costa Rica, the rain that wasn't there. Now, a lot of people some have heard, many people have not. You want to tell that story?
Okay, so we were coming back from a vision clinic that was, an hour away, and we take several students with us, and many stay. We were building a church, so the construction team was at the church, and maybe there was 7 students with us, and we were on a tight time frame, and so they had to finish the floor to get the building done enough to where we could have the service that Sabbath. And so we knew that if it rained, there's just no way that they could finish this. And so we're coming back, and we're driving, and we look over, and you know how you can see the dark clouds, 10 miles away or something, and it's right over where this church was. And as we got closer, it just started pouring cats and dogs. And
meanwhile, we saw that it was going to start raining, and one of the ladies in our team, she's like, we should pray about this. And so she starts texting people back home that are on our group chat, and so people start praying about this.
And the closer we got, the worse the rain got. And so we turned left onto the road, and just a few miles ahead of us was the church and the construction site, and it was just pouring cats and dogs. And we were like, oh, they had to have quit an hour ago because it was so wet.
And so we're in the car, we're just chatting away, and all of a sudden I notice that the rain is starting to slacken. I'm like, guys, do you see this?
Within a quarter mile of getting to the church, the road was dry. And we looked as we passed the church, nothing was wet. The team was done for the day, and everything was dry. And we passed it to go on to our hotel, and about a half mile beyond the construction site, it started pouring cats and dogs again. When we got to the town where our hotel was, it's just raining like crazy. And I took a snapshot on my phone of the radar, and it was like a donut that was just around the construction site. And needless to say, of course, we were able to finish it, have the services there that Sabbath, and have baptisms, and praise God. And the kids couldn't believe it,
Yeah.
because it was such a profound miracle.
Yeah, hey, what does it do for children to see that? Western kids who grow up with everything they need and most of what they want, what does it do for them? You saw them see that. What does it do in the lives of your students?
That's one of the things that I love about mission trips. The kids go in expecting to see God work, and he never fails to show them his mighty power.
Amen.